Okay, my friends. So today I am going to speak to you about a few things, but mainly this is going to encompass a lot of manifestation and mindset. So, for those of you who don't know me, I am Hope. I am here with the Intuitive Mirror, and a lot of my content is around intuiting some of the energies that are happening with the larger collective. For those who see me, find me, what have you, we must be aligned in some way if you are here now. But what I'm also very highly skilled at, you may not know, is I'm quite good at manifestations and manifestation techniques, and more to the point, the mindset. I've also been an educator for 20 plus years. So I'm hoping that what I break down for you today is going to make a lot of sense. But you might want to get like something to write with, or just take some notes, whatever, however you do it. I'm hoping this might kind of sort of blow your mind. But here's what's interesting. So I called this You Reap What You Sow, which is very much a biblical title term. And I'm going to talk a little bit about that today under the lens of you reap what you sow in terms of manifestation. Okay. But first, what I'm going to talk a little about is why I started this channel. So, I was intentionally starting this channel around an inkling or a message that I received last year from my guides from God, where I was kind of being told, like, hey, you should consider starting like some prayers, because I was in a position where I was feeling this desire and need to create something. And where that came from partially was I heard Delores Cannon. If you know her work, it's really interesting. She was a hypnotherapist and she did a lot of past life regression therapy with people, got a lot of information from those sessions with people, and kind of came into a conclusion in terms of like how we exist and live and what have you. And it's fascinating work. It's very fascinating. However, some of her stuff comes out very matter of fact, thrown by the hip, but some of it can be quite heavy in content. And so, where it started for me as a listener was she was talking about the new earth concept, where there will be a point in time where the new earth, which is really a change in our timeline, a change in our vibration, people will choose to stay behind to help those that are here, but it's not going to be a very pretty type of thing. And those who choose to leave and go on to the new earth will have a very tremendous experience. So this is fascinating for a few reasons, and I'll talk about it, but I want to speak first about my reaction at the time. So at the time when I heard that, it caused me a lot of anxiety, partially because I was really taking what she was saying quite literally. And my little active, anxious mind brain was overactive at the time and had been very well practiced. And I will talk about that more in other videos and what have you, but very, very well practiced indeed. So I kind of freaked out a little bit. And I was walking around at the dog park with my dog, and what I did was kind of paused and reflected a little bit and did a little prayer and sort of figured out what that meant for me and what felt most true. Because if we're talking about vibration and alignment, especially when we're trying to work on manifestations, if you are feeling anxious and feeling all of the feels of fear, that's not going to be very useful and helpful for your experience. And so if you know, you know. And if you're new here, welcome, and don't forget to subscribe. Okay, so I got thinking about Dolores's new earth concept, and I realized through my prayer and thought and meditation and what have you, that really what she's talking about is there's these two worlds. One is going to be really not great, biblically speaking, we could probably, give that a name, right? And then there's another world that is going to be wonderful and beautiful and creative and high vibrational. We could probably give that a name as well if you choose. And those really two things that she's talking about is really a state of mind, a mindset. And I realized that what she's speaking about is, if you imagine like a spectrum, we have basically two worlds. Fear is on one end, love is on the other end. if you look at what's happening today in our world and you look around, you can definitely see fear is very much in operation. And if you're not careful, you can really get sucked into that direction. Now, on the other spectrum is love. And if you look around you and you're lucky enough to have people in your life who are wonderful and lovely and you have laughs and things like that, then you are working in the spectrum of love. Okay, those are two worlds. Those are two different states of existence. And the funny thing with being human is that you can literally live within those two worlds at any given time throughout the day. So a lot of people talk about that like a timeline jump or like a timeline jump. That's really the catchy phrase. And I do believe the quantum field is very much alive and well, and timeline jumping is possible. But you can, in fact, jump any point in time throughout your day. So I started to think about the two worlds that she was talking about as love versus fear. And so therefore I started thinking, how do I cultivate that concept of the world that I wanted to live in, which was love? Okay, how do I work with that? God is love. I want to work with that. I want to work with God. That's when the idea came to me, you should start a little prayer channel. You should maybe start some prayers, because what I wanted to do was start to elevate the vibration of the planet and help positively impact and influence other people with that as well. Because I know myself to be very mindful of the things that I consume and what I listen to. I like to think so anyways. But if I'm responding to something I'm hearing from Delores Cannon in terms of her teachings, and I had that sort of flare up where I was feeling quite anxious, then certainly other people were feeling that as well. So I decided, I was like, I need to start creating content then that is going to reflect the world I want to live in, which is living in a world of love, high vibrational influence. Now, I could get into some other things in terms of like our spheres of experience and all of that. I have lots of information on that. But today specifically, I want to talk about the concept of you reap what you sow. So I needed to give you the background for me and this channel so you can kind of understand a little bit more about the thinking that's coming in behind this. Okay. So whether you are a person who loves the teachings of the Bible or not is irrelevant here, but I am using that a little bit as a jumping off point today. Part of my background comes from that sort of Christian upbringing, not hardcore by any means, more of a high holiday Catholic, if you will. But here I am today with very much a different sort of vibe, which is my own path and what have you. So I heard someone on, I will find him and I will post and link him in my description. Okay. But I don't have his name right now in front of me, but he has been sort of offline for a really long time and has recently come back online and is now back and creating on YouTube. And what he was speaking about was work from the Bible, words from the Bible, that God wants you to be a creator. And it lit me up because I created a prayer maybe 2 months ago, which was the impetus for this channel. I started doing some tarot readings and I've been cultivating on that. And then I've been working on some shorts and having a few aha moments. I have a ton of videos that are sort of stashed in my phone right now, but I haven't shared them all for a variety of different reasons. So here he is talking about how he kind of got stuck in terms of the creating thing. And what he ended up doing was only consuming. And it got me thinking a little bit, because I know that God is a creator. God has created us in God's image, and therefore we should be creating. I have some notes written down because I did do another video earlier, but it was like really wild. So I'm trying to be a little more grounded in this. So I went to why I started the channel and started thinking about that. And the whole reason was for elevation. And what did I start doing as soon as I started the channel, though, was I started getting caught up a little bit in the algorithms, in what my hashtags and searches are, what kind of aesthetics I should be having, what my lighting is, the technical aspects of it, which is not at all part of the focus of raising the vibration. So if you reap what you sow, meaning if you get back what you put out, if I'm fussing around with subscriber count, trends that are happening on YouTube right now. How many people are watching? How many people are commenting? Am I getting likes and views and subscriptions from my content? But I'm not focusing on the original concept. Then, clearly we have a disconnect. And what I noticed was, number one, last year when I had that idea, it was September 2024. I had that idea and I did nothing with it for a year. And if you've been watching me, I've talked about this before just a little, but I had it, but it was continuously nagging me, but I did nothing with it. Okay. But there's other things I'm trying to pursue in my life as well. And what happened last year? Nothing happened. Nothing. I had a bit of a dry spell when it comes to talking about like the creativity and my other endeavors. It was a bit of a dry spell. Okay. So I sort of put this all together. I'm like, interesting. I was putting that off. It was inspired by God. I didn't follow. I am not reaping anything because I was not sowing anything. I was not planting any seeds. So that's part of it. And what I wanted to talk about also is what is calling you, because this is going to be a really big indicator for you in terms of like what it is you're going to pursue moving forward. So last week, I hadn't produced any content. I didn't really put out anything massively new. I did a couple of shorts, but I didn't do anything long form like this. And I started to feel very stagnant. Now, as a creator, someone who likes to create, if you're not creating, you're not living in your truth. Therefore, you're going to feel probably less on the spectrum of love and moving into that other direction, if you catch my drift, right? I did not want to be stagnant. Here he comes, this guy talking to me today, and boom, I've got my content. Now, some of the things that I was considering here was, I was trying to be conscientious, number one, first of all, of my energy stores and how much energy I had. This is really important to consider when you are working on manifesting, when you're working on creating, manifesting, producing. I can use these words interchangeably, and I will use them interchangeably here today, okay? So I needed to be conscientious, first of all, of my energy stores, because reality is, I am not only a creator, but I am also a parent, and I have other aspects of my life that require my attention. So I know that when I come in to create, I do have to be in a vibrational alignment. I have to be in the right attitude. Otherwise, trust me, the universe has shown me time and again. When I come in and I go, I should do it, it doesn't work. I've had audio issues, right? I've had hiccups where I can't transfer files. Like I've had all sorts of strange little things that have happened as a result. So I know I have to be sort of in the right space in order to do that. Avoiding anything that is like I should. But then also, what am I investing in? So I could be saying like, oh, I'm not creating on the channel, so I'm not creating. However, perhaps I am choosing in that moment, instead of creating, which was part of it last week, I wanted to spend some time with my family. I wanted to watch the USA versus Canada hockey game, right? I wanted to see what happens because a lot is on the line as far as how we interpret our national pride, right? I wanted to do that. So for me, no, I was not creating in the terms of the channel and the content, but what I was doing was creating memories with my family. I'm creating unity with my family. So this is a mindset shift that I think is really important, like as we are being conscientious. And I'm going to, I think, come up with a few like worksheets in terms of like how to work through some of this thinking, because I know for myself, I can be very black and white. I can be very binary in my thinking. And that is often not helpful because really we do live on a spectrum of different shades of gray, if you will. No book intended, no reference intended there. Okay. So what is it I'm investing in is part of it. And then the reason I'm investing. So the why. I got lost on the why when I was focusing on the subscription count and I was focusing on doing something more trendy or what have you. That is not the reason I intended to start this channel. The reason was I wanted to raise the vibration. So I need to start moving through that with my why. Same with why am I not creating? I wanted to spend time with my family. That is my why. So I'm flipping my page here. that is my why. And then, of course, it is for whom. So who are we doing this for? What am I creating for? What are you creating for? And that's another thing for another day. So, again, going back to this other video is the what are you consuming versus what are you creating? So producing or consuming. Consuming is things that you are taking in, and producing is things that you are putting out there. And I swear to you, this all clicked today. Like I was like, oh my gosh, this and this. And I'm hoping it will click for you as well. So what is taking you away from things? So, for me, I wanted to put things out for the collective to raise that vibration, and then begin to, reap back what I was sowing out. If I'm feeling stagnant, clearly that's not happening. And so then I wanted to think about what else I am, or where my balance is for the consumption versus production. So I started to think about what I'm consuming as a consumer. And I am fairly good for the most part. I am very mindful of the kind of news that I, allow into my sort of energy field. I do not pursue those bad stories, and you can call me ignorant. That's fine, whatever, but I don't, right? I'm very mindful of maintaining my sense of myself, and things that are going to rattle me, I'm going to be very careful of what I consume. The same with what type of movies I watch or what type of television shows I watch. And lately, I've not been watching anything in terms of that. But what I have been consuming is I've been watching a lot of other readers and their channel and their information. And I've been watching and consuming other coaches and trying to get clarity for myself, and trying to get, like a sense of direction for myself. Okay. Now, this part is really important. So if you are reaping what you sow, but I am consuming more than I am creating, and I am projecting, is it possible to be creating more than consuming? Yes. Is it possible to be consuming more than creating? Also, yes. Okay. So what was I doing? Consuming more than creating. And being that I was being asked and called by God, Spirit, my higher power to create and do a channel, and I am not doing that. I am not living in that world of love, and I am not living in the eyes of the Creator as God, right? If we are all God individuated as ourselves, I am hope, I am the individuated version of God, as are you, then I need to start acting like it. Bing, bing. Okay. So, turning my page. What was I consuming? I talked a little bit about that. Now, as I'm consuming other readers' channels and looking at direction and trying to get insight, and I say this to you, and this is really important, I am also a reader here. So I want you to sort of take this into consideration. This is a note for you that if you think you might be consuming too much, that it might also be a good thing to take a step back and just sort of consider where your balances are. But if I am consuming for the sense of, I need direction, I don't know what I'm doing, what am I going to do now, what's coming up, right? I am just signaling to the universe, I have a sense of lack. I don't know what I'm doing, I'm looking for direction, and what's going to come back to me? I don't know what I'm doing, I'm lacking direction, etc., etc. I start to signal to the universe through consuming a sense of need. And then I am just reinforcing that element in my life. So therefore, I had some lack, I had some stagnancy, things were slowing down, I was not feeling like myself. All of that was part of what was happening over the last week and a bit. However, if I start producing and creating, then I'm signaling to the universe that I have more than enough. I do have the resources, the internal and external resources to share. Thereby, I am signaling to the universe that I have abundance. And therefore, the universe, God, Spirit, what have you, is going to then mirror that by the law of, I wrote it down here, the law of reflection, the law of assumption, and the law of resonance. It's going to bring it back to me. And if this is still kind of confusing, I'm going to put it in the terms of farming and agriculture. So think of yourself like a farmer. A farmer literally sows the seeds, puts them into the ground, nurtures them, waters them, takes care of the space that these seeds are existing in, your ideas, your desires, things like that, right? Nurtures. Those things grow, and then the harvest comes. Now, this farmer, if they are going to farmers markets, sharing the crop that has grown with his or her neighbors, then that farmer could be perceived as quite abundant because they have had more than enough come up that they were able to share their crop. Okay. If the farmer is unable to or does not share crop with community, with farmers market, with neighbors, what have you, and is eating everything, that farmer must be very hungry. Eating, consuming. I am imagining carrots as I talk about this, but here he is or she is consuming more than giving. They are signaling this sense of, I am hungry. I am in lack. And therefore, it is just being reinforced over and over and over again. So the challenge is to find ourselves in a place where we need to create a little bit of more balance in terms of what is being created versus what is being consumed, and tweaking our thinking around that as well. If we continue to give, then again, by the law of reflection, by the law of assumption, and by the law of resonance, things will come back to us, because as we are living in a universe of giving, we are living in a universe of giving, which means we will be receiving. So you don't have to worry about what's coming in, okay? Because you are creating, you are signaling abundance. So the checks and the balances here are, obviously, when we sometimes need inspiration, we need to fill up our cup. I get that. We need to do that. That is part of the consumption. That is part of the beautiful thing, but that is also part of receiving. But if we focus on giving and creating a little more, then we will definitely be signaling more about our abundance. Okay. And again, going back to mindset, last week, if I was just focusing on just the channel, I was only focusing on just the growth of the channel. I was focusing on how many subscribers I have. Don't forget to subscribe. And I was thinking only about that. I was hyper-focused on that, which was not the mindset that God spoke to me from. God was speaking to me from raising the vibration, impacting others in a positive way, helping to inspire people, helping to elevate. That is where the inspiration and God was coming from. And as I was focusing on just the channel and just the growth, I wasn't even recognizing, when I do take a break and choose to spend time with my family, I wasn't even recognizing that that's what I was doing. That is huge. I needed to find my center. I needed to make sure I was shifted on the right feeling. So, if I'm spending time with my family and I am neglecting to see that is time spent investing and creating memories, if I'm refusing to sort of see that is going to be also lack mindset, because then I'm not doing that. I'm not working on the channel. I'm not creating this content. Do you see what I'm saying? So there's this fine little balance in terms of making sure you've got mindset, following your vibrational alignment. So if you're too tired to do, this type of creating, what other things can you create? Like, I made a 3-course meal earlier in the week, and I spent 3 or 4 hours in the kitchen. And was I doing the channel? No. I use this example though, because I was creating food. I was nourishing my family. I was investing in their health and well-being. I was investing in letting them know that I am also a nurturer, right? Not just a lady who's trying to build a career. Do you know what I'm saying? Whew, lots to unpack there. Again, I've been working on the idea with my spiritual team and my higher intuition through this idea of having this medium on YouTube, and whether I should just be like throwing things up as they occur or being a little more mindful of this medium is the message thing. And the idea I've been working with more is the message is the message. The message is the message. What is being said is more important than how it's being delivered. And that is less so from maybe how someone else is receiving it, but for you, right? If you're inspired to do something, do it. Now, not everybody's going to be a content creator. Not everybody's going to be a YouTuber. That's neither here nor there. Dancing, singing, writing, quilting, sewing, boxing. I don't know why I said boxing. What else? Pottery, like whatever it is that you do it because God is that. And therefore, you are that as well. God is a creator, as are you. If you are creating, you are acting as if you are God, individuated as self. And that's a very good place to be, because then you are in that zone. You are pushing yourself back to that spectrum of love versus the other spectrum, which is fear. And I'll talk about that, those fears of experience. I'll talk about that in another video. But this is slightly different today for those of you who are here for tarot. But trust me when I say this, this is still divinely guided. And if you got this at the right time, I hope it is of benefit to you. And let me know if you would be interested in a worksheet or a few things, a workbook or something, because I certainly can produce that for you. I'd be happy to do it. Let me know in the comments if you do want that, and I will get to work on it, because I have an idea about how to create sort of a worksheet in terms of recognizing ego for the positive and for the negative. So let me know down below if that's something you'd like. And please let me know if this resonated or made sense to you, or if there's a way that you can apply this in your own life. And of course, my friends, don't forget to subscribe, don't forget to like, and don't forget to share it with someone that you love. I am Hope. I am with the Intuitive Mirror. I bid you a good day.